Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. A Monday and the first day of well-being in Week Law. I'm so excited and honored that I am kicking off the week. I think Layla, we had a little tech issue here. Layla's here, but she was going to introduce me, but I'm going to introduce myself. And Layla is who I know and got introduced to this amazing week, which is right up my alley. She was talking about it and telling me about all the amazing initiatives that you guys have and anything in the world of supporting wellness in the workspace. I didn't even think twice to jump on board with. And so again, I'm really honored. My name is Emily. I'm actually have a slide discussing myself, so I'll just go right to it. But I'm going to be talking to you guys about your internal toolkit today. So my name is Emily, and I am a kinesiologist. I am born and raised in Canada, and I went to Dalhousie University in Canada. And I've been a personal trainer for over 15 years. And I created the Body by Me method. So that's the name of my company. And just last year, I'm a newbie, but I really got into organic gardening. So it's pretty much my identity outside of my career, which includes raising monarch butterflies. I'm just, a girl who likes to frolic. So when I'm not being the Body by Me method girl, I am gardening and trying to grow my own veggies. And I'm really excited because it's actually happening. I'm not killing everything. So in my 15 years of personal training, I've had such an incredible opportunity to train over 200 people, to work with them on their transformation journeys, to travel the world and get to do retreats, which is so cool. That's where those two pictures are from. That was in Bali, 2 different years, which is amazing. Getting to work with people in a multitude of spaces, so not just the one-on-one personal training and groups and these retreat aspects, it's connecting with people who just want to learn more about their wellness. It has been both an honor to be a part of someone's journey, but also like the ultimate case study. And I'm a nerd who is constantly collecting data. And over these 15 years and in all these experiences, there was just this common theme that kept coming up, also in my own wellness journey, which I will speak on as well. And I hope that it shows you that even though I'm in the industry and this is literally what I eat and breathe and do, I too am a person who is on a well-being journey, because we all are. The common theme I noticed, though, was that it wasn't that people didn't know what they were supposed to eat, right or wrong. They generally knew, like, hey, this is bad food, this is good food. It wasn't that they lacked the knowledge of knowing they need to move their body, to go to the gym. It was none of those things. It was that there was a disconnect. So the theme of everyone, including myself, is that there was a disconnect from themselves. And I hope in today's presentation, my main goal is that you guys learn that well-being and the things I'm talking about in regards to your well-being, it's not about adding things on. You guys are extraordinarily busy individuals. I have trained lawyers in my time, and I am so thoroughly impressed with the balance of it all and the workload and what you can do in a day. But it's not about adding then more on top of that. And so I hope that what I speak about today will help you see that we're going to delve into this concept of looking at the disconnect. So rather than adding more, what are we kind of missing? So the entire theme of my career then, I actually switched out of traditional personal training. I don't even call myself a personal trainer anymore. I actually am just kind of floating around titleless. The theme is helping people reconnect to themselves. And that is what I do day in, day out. And I hope that you learn today. So my principle that I function everything based up, by the way, you'll see a lot of nature backgrounds because again, really, really about that nature life. The theme is human being well-being. So that is what I build every principle off of that I follow for myself and for clients. And that's because you are more than the lawyer. You are more than a son or a daughter or a husband or wife or friend or colleague or Lakers fan or golfer. You're more than a human. You are also a being. And I think that that is so often missed in these traditional health and wellness models. It hyperfixates on the human part of you, the body. And you're so much more than your body. Your body is extremely important, but you're more than the 5 to 10 pounds that you might get frustrated with that you can't seem to lose. You're more than the aches and pains you might feel in the morning or when you get up from the chair. You're more than the body that gets you through the day every day. You're also your being. And your being is really, think of it like the contents, everything that is inside of you. And this is really important and why I build all the structures and practices and well-being practice around it is because your well-being practice and your paths and your tools and everything you use is going to be super individualized based upon that. So your unique individual makeup, that being, the contents. And if we just pursue structures that are built not including that, that's where we run into issues and that disconnect. So two major problems, there's a lot of problems, but two major problems present themselves, and I notice in this. And that is a lot of health and wellness industries based on this one-size-fits-all approach. So again, raising my hand, I can't see your guys' hands, but super guilty of this, and there's nothing wrong with it. Doesn't mean we did anything wrong, but following diets or programs or things we see like trends on social media, those are not designed uniquely for you. Yes, they could be a great motivation or kickstart or again, a learning resource, but it's not made for you. One of the best examples I can give to demonstrate this is if you pick up a nutrition label. So you flip around a product in a store and you look at the nutrition label, you'll see daily percentage, like daily recommended value. And that's the percent of what you should have for that micronutrient, a vitamin. So if you read it and it says vitamin D, and it is this percentage of how much you should be having every day. That percentage is based off of a generalized status quo. So that is an average. The very unfortunate reality now is a lot of the averages here in America are now, think of it as like a baseline that's kind of then skewed. It's based upon a very unhealthy average because the health of this country right now is not looking great in terms of those, like especially on a nutritional value basis. If you are just following that, which is the status quo, and you're like, okay, well, I'm doing everything right, I'm having the percentage of vitamin D, you might still be deficient. It's one of the most common deficiencies. Even with us living in California, we still are deficient in vitamin D. So if you follow what that one size fits all recommendation is, you still might be lacking what your body specifically needs. And that's just one example. It can be seen throughout with working out to nutrition to any other realm of well-being. The second issue that I see, and it's kind of hilarious because I am from the wellness industry, but the best way to learn stuff and see stuff is being inside and looking out. And that is we look to external resources. We're conditioned to look to external resources in terms of our well-being, right? I don't know if you can relate, but I, again, will give all examples to show you I'm in the industry and this is still a learning curve for me. It's so much easier to buy the thing that says the result than to have to kind of figure it out for yourself, right? So we're sold wellness. Also, in all fairness, sometimes you just really want relief from chronic pain. It's telling me that I will have relief from chronic pain if I buy this. So we externally resource the solution to the problem that I mentioned, which is the disconnect. So we're really just buying things to try to mitigate and ease the problem when really it's not fixing the problem itself. It's not helping us connect to ourselves. It's actually just keeping us further away and delegating it outward. Instead, we should be internally cultivating it. But that's not what the industry sells us because it's a lot harder to make money that way. And it is very profit driven. So it forms what is called a loop of dependence. What that means is, again, diets are the best example. You want the result, you want to feel better, you want to feel less bloated, you want to lose weight. It's not wrong to feel motivated by aesthetic means. You do the diet, you might get quick result. Usually you do, but it's not a sustainable result because you aren't necessarily doing what your body needs. Then you go back and you're like, oh my God, I need the result again. Try something else or new. And it's this loop that you stay in. It's the hamster wheel. The issue with the hamster wheel, maybe a better analogy is a snowball, is it just keeps going and growing. And that is what that disconnect, it gets further from yourself. Pop up some images. I don't know If you guys can relate to some of these, I definitely, and again, it's not saying that a massage gun is a bad thing, but it's again looking for those things, externally resourcing as the fix. Supplements, Ozempic is a biggie right now. Not saying that it doesn't again have its purpose for people, but we're being sold all this. So, what if I told you you actually don't need to be sold anything? I'm like the anti-salesman here, because you already have everything you need inside. And that's the purpose of what I want to teach you today. Again, I want you to leave this thinking you don't need to add more, right? You don't need to add more to your to-do list. I know right now it's a Monday, although you're eager and jumping into this well-being week, you probably still have a lot to do. You have lives outside of work, you're juggling a lot, you're balancing a lot. And I want you to know that your well-being isn't another thing to add to that overwhelming list. You already have everything you need inside, and that's something that can't be sold to you. So your internal toolkit is with you, but in order to learn it, I'm going to go through an exercise here with you guys. I want you to close your eyes where you're seated, and we're going to learn what our internal and our external is, just with this simple exercise. So with your eyes closed, I want you to feel your butt in the seat, so where you're sitting. Just feel the actual tactile, like the contact. I want you to feel your feet on the ground. If you're wearing shoes, I want you to feel your foot in your shoe. If you're not, just feel the contact of your foot on the ground and what the floor feels like. Maybe it's carpet, maybe it's cold. I want you to feel the air. Maybe there's a fan in the room or AC. What does it feel like? Is it moving? Can you feel any tactile sensation on your skin? I want you to listen. Other than my voice, what other sounds do you hear? Be really aware. Let all your senses that we have to establish awareness of our surroundings be on right now. And even though your eyes are closed, I want you to picture what the room looks like. So your last visual representation of the room, load that in your mind right now. On the black screen that is the back of your eyes, the back of your eyelids. Picture where the layout is, where everything is. This is your external ecosystem. Obviously, your external ecosystem extends very far beyond just your room. It's the community you live in, the city. It's your home, it's your family. It's beyond, it's global, it's the world. Now, with your eyes still closed, I want you to go inward. I want you to not think about anything outside of you. Do your best to, I know I'm speaking to you and you're following my voice, but block out everything else that's external. I want you to go in. I want you to feel your stomach. It's noontime. This is your lunch break, more than likely. I'm not sure if you have your food with you or you're joining this hungry. What is your stomach telling you? Is it rumbling? Is it full? Is it a little uneasy? Is it calm? I want you to tune in to your heart. Usually we don't focus on it unless it's racing. I want you to feel it right now. I want you to feel the rhythm. Are you able to tune into the rhythm? Are you able to feel the blood flow? And I want you to feel your breath. Where your breath enters, whether it's your nose or mouth, both. I want you to feel it move all the way down. Feel your lungs expand. Feel any other sensation you have inside right now. This is your internal ecosystem. And what you were just doing, you can open your eyes now. What you were just doing is called interoception, which is learning the sensations and the feelings of what is inside, what's happening inside of you. So it's honestly really a practice of connecting. But a lot of us, unless we make that intentional practice, we don't really have unless something's wrong, right? Because that's when the body has those alarms going off. Like when you're bloated, it's because you're uncomfortable. But unless we really have those alarms going off, we tend to not tune into it. But that's your internal ecosystem. On the screen here, you might have to move my face around. Sorry, I wasn't cognizant of exactly where to put the text for where the bubble would pop up. But that's just an example of some of the internal ecosystem. It's obviously very extensive. I just wanted to give you guys an idea. It's our bodily systems, our cells, our microbiome, our thoughts, our energy. It's everything in this vessel. Your being, right? That is your internal ecosystem. So we live in one an ecosystem, and an ecosystem lives within us. And that's really important to understand because your optimal well-being is a balance of both. It's not just one or the other, it's a balance of both. We have to live in this ecosystem and we need it. Humans are not going to do well if Earth keeps going the way it is, right? Like the ecosystem is extraordinarily, we are here because of it, but also you're here because of your internal ecosystem. And when we see disease and illness and all of these imbalances pop up, that's exactly what it is, internal imbalance. And they feed each other. So your internal and external feed each other, right? I really want you to understand that because we're going an inside out approach. We're moving from inside out. And why we're doing that is because if we lived in just an external sense of our well-being, right? So if you only made your well-being practices and your own well-being journey around the external, it would be so hard to maintain because that means, give you an example, if you are in a scenario where you ever feel overstimulated? I get this a lot. As I got older, it started happening more. I was like, what? I used to be in loud nightclubs when I was in college, and now I'm in a coffee shop and they grind the espresso too loud. And I'm like, just overstimulated. That's a perfect example. In that scenario, if I only functioned with the tools externally, I would have to somehow ask everyone around that was causing the overstimulation, my phone notifications, the barista doing the espresso, the car horns and the loud this and I'd have to ask everyone to quiet down just so I could regulate, which is probably not a way to go, right? And that's then constantly having to curate your external environment. We live in a world of variability and we have to be able to adapt. So if we take this inside out approach, and no, you can't control everything inside of you, but you have many more things that are in your control. That means, although we need the balance of internal and external ecosystems, we are starting and cultivating that balance internally. So that is the real reason we're going inside out. Also, this is your blueprint. When you learn your inside and you connect to yourself and you really learn this toolkit, that's your blueprint. So your blueprint is not what your trainer hands you or your doctor even hands you, even though your doctor should be looking at obviously all these internal things. I'm not saying that. But if you are purely relying on these pre-laid out programs or diets, that's not necessarily what your body is saying it needs. The blueprint. Your internal ecosystem is going to tell you that. So let's understand your internal. I think you guys have what is called or you guys have talked about before, the wheel of wellness. That might be the correct term. I looked at it on your site. Amazing. Love it. Same concept here. I just broke it up into what I call human essentials. So this just means these are the it's our rudimentary design. Okay, so it's how we are made as human beings. And these are our most important essential things that we have to have in balance for well-being. It's just non-negotiable. And when we don't, and when we neglect, this is when this disconnect happens, when all of a sudden we gain weight, we don't feel well, we have fatigue and sleep problems, and the list goes on. Inability to balance stress, all of it. Movement, of course, I put that first and foremost because that is what we're zeroing in on today, but it really, really, really is essential. We are designed to move. We are not designed to sit like we do. And again, I am literally a trainer and I find myself sitting way more than my body's designed to do. Nourishment, this describes more than just eating. This is hydration. This is anything that you are fueling yourself with, okay? So any nourishment you're putting into your body, we nourish ourselves in more ways than food. Obviously, food is probably like the top tier thing. Can't be without it. Really, really need it. And it needs to be nourishing food. Mental and energetic. This is such an important category. And I think in your guys' well-being weeks, you've delved into mental health. And it's so, so important because this is the control system. This is our hard drive. This is everything. And often we neglect it because it's just easy to put back burner, right? Like as long as your body's going and you can get the emails and it isn't always our priority. It should be. Again, it needs to be considered with all these human essentials in balance. put mental and energetic because I think that something happens with health and wellness industry, and social media really was the catalyst of this. We make associations with language and words, right? And it becomes kind of like trendy, and we start associating. So we think like mental health, there has to be something wrong, and that's not true. Energetic, why I put it there, is it really describes the energy that you are putting out into the world and you're also surrounding yourself with. Again, ecosystems, right? And then this category I call interworkings. Everything is connected. Everything. From your digestion to your mood, from your mobility to your mineral deficiencies or balances, from your sleep to your bowel movements. Like they're all connected. Every single thing is connected. Interconnectedness is how we function. We are really going to nerd out here and try to cut myself off so I don't ramble, but we are such an incredible design. It is why we're still learning the body. It is why science has not even caught up to understanding ourselves fully. But the more you understand how everything is connected, it helps remove some of those question marks, right? It helps build that blueprint. I always imagine, a detective wall with the red strings connecting. This is really what I do all day, every day with clients and helping find these connections and what I had to do. And currently, and to be honest, I'm still in my healing journey, but with chronic pain, because it wasn't the obvious things of like, well, I didn't hurt myself. Well, actually, I work out a lot and I eat good food. Like it's not necessarily, the obvious. So building these little red strings and seeing everything, building that interoception, like learning your body, connecting, it helps go further and further and more red strings connecting. You're like, oh my gosh, my hip tightness is connected to my trauma, not necessarily because I didn't stretch it. Whew, that's crazy. So interworkings is extraordinarily important and must remain in balance too. One system gets out of balance, the others will eventually. It is always domino. It's just a matter of time. It's a question of when. Now, if this is the slide you remember today, I want you to take this with you throughout Wellbeing Week and beyond, because I've trained a lot of lawyers and Type A personalities seem to come really strong, really strong, which is a great thing. It is that ability to be disciplined and focused and do and go. It is incredible. However, it is hard to switch it off sometimes outside of the areas that you maybe don't need it or it isn't as beneficial. And that is in your well-being and your practices. Whenever I train individuals that are wired this way, and I'm wired this way too, P.S., so it helps me understand it, I never worry about them doing the homework I give or showing up to the workouts. Never question. They are the most scheduled. They'll schedule before I even can get to my own schedule. Very organized, disciplined individuals. The problem with that in regards to our well-being is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Well-being has to be fluid and it's constantly adapting. We are actually designed for adaptation, or we wouldn't have evolved or survived and we would have been extinct by now, right? So understanding your internal and these human essentials is also understanding it's not going to be perfect every day, and that's not the goal. This snapshot here, this visual, I'll just walk you through. This would be an example of a day. Let's say it's today. And you're really busy because you so amazingly joined this webinar on your lunch hour. So you don't have time to move, okay? So your movement is that smaller circle. All your movement is a few steps, maybe to and from work, and you got to quickly walk your dog. So that means to keep your well-being today in balance so that you don't get completely thrown off and imbalance, you have to really focus on the other three essentials. So today you're going to do really good then on hydration and eat really nourishing foods. You're not going to skip meals because you're like, already not moving my body. I don't want to put in further distress. Let me give it what it needs. That right there is a narrative switch, because so many people, and again, nothing wrong with you to think it, we're conditioned to think this way, assume, I'm not moving today. I better eat less calories because, wow, yeah, I don't want to gain weight. No, eat good foods, like eat the nourishing foods. You need food. Food is not dependent upon if you got to the gym or not, okay? That association will just wipe that clean. You need it. Your body needs it. It is burning calories with you thinking through your client load today or your meetings, whatever you have. Mental and energetic, that's the biggest circle because it's like, gosh, I'm not moving today. You're already not doing something that your body needs. So you're going to be cognizant and stop in between your meetings after the webinar, whatever it is. You're going to just pause. You're going to set even a little timer on your phone. Put your phone on do not disturb for 3 minutes or 5 minutes and just sit and breathe. Sit and look out the window. Sit outside, get a little sun. Something that helps you support that mental and energetic component. And then interworkings. Because it was a long, stressful day, you did so much, you expended energy, you're going to get a good night's sleep because your body needs it to reset, recover. So perfect is not the goal. So now let's get to know your toolkit. Get to your toolkit. I want you to understand you have 2 types of internal tools right now at your disposal. Again, I'm not telling you that you have to do anything today. This is like the webinar that is telling you actually just need to be present, sit, and reconnect, not go do things. I'm not even telling you to go to the gym right now. I am telling you you have everything, and so it's time to use it. Innate tools and support tools. I want you to think of your innate tools as your natural instincts. So these are things that are already inside of you. You never lack them. So even in moments where you feel like, I don't know, like a lot of us have been through where we feel like, oh, God, I want to be or look how I was 10 years ago. It's a concept of feeling like we're lacking something we once had, right? You're never lacking. It's always there. These are essential to you. They're instinctively in you and innately in you. So we never not have access to them. However, there are 2 things there I have on the screen: awareness of them and then the blocks to them. Very important to understand, and I'm going to put up on the screen also what some of these innate tools are. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is so you can understand. Kind of what I was touching on earlier is we're not always aware of our breathing, right? We're not in control of it all the time, but we can also control it. That is an innate tool. Breath, I put it there under autonomic nervous system because autonomic means it's happening even when we're not aware of it. That is a great thing because it's keeping us alive 24/7. If we had to think of everything and we had to be in charge of running all of these tools at all times, wow, I'm already exhausted with thinking I have to do laundry while do some meal prep, while finish up that one project, listen, I like to think I'm a great multitasker. If in a meeting you had to also think about maintaining the rhythm of your heart, changing your body temperature as the room changed because someone put the AC on, and also use your mind to think about creating enough hydrochloric acid, HCl in your stomach to digest the meal you just ate, it would be attention deficit beyond. It would be impossible. So it's really important that these things do happen without our conscious awareness. However, that does not mean that for access to these tools and to be able to use them and to help bring our body in balance, that it doesn't require the awareness of them. So circadian rhythm is one of the most important, and we just constantly are getting in the way, blocking, or even abusing these innate tools. Your circadian rhythm is something that's programmed in you, and that is programmed in you for when certain things happen in your body. So it's according to a rhythm, a 24-hour cycle. And really, we're designed to be functioning based off the sun being up and the sun being down, not what humans decided a clock was. So that's a perfect example of how we're following a societal design versus necessarily what is meant to be a human design. We are staying up late. We're eating close to bed. We're doing things that are blocking that innate tool right there. If you cultivate your circadian rhythm and give it what it needs, so you're actually aware of it and you're using the tool, that right there is a hack to your well-being. It wants to keep you on track. I think the most important thing to think about with these natural instincts is our body wants us to function at its best, to be in balance, to survive and thrive. We are designed to constantly heal. We get in the way of it. So well-being is a lot of like, how do I get out the way and let my body work how it's designed to? Serotonin production, that's a great example. That's our happy hormone. It has us feeling good. Most of our serotonin is produced in our gut. And what do? Ruin our gut health. So that tool right there, if you want to be happier, right there, that's a tool. That is a feel-good tool right there. Gut microbiome really goes into play with it. And what I really realized recently, that's my little kitten I just adopted. It was such a wake-up call. Again, this is what I study. I read books on. This is what I eat and breathe. But I still have these realizations because I'm a human living in this human life in this current society too. And I adopted this kitten. My boyfriend was on a work trip, came home, and I had him. I just, you can't leave me unsupervised with baby animals. And so I don't know if any of you have experienced bringing a kitten home, but you have to keep your eyes on them 24/7. If they're asleep, you can generally sleep, but it is a full-time job because they will get into small spaces. They're just really energetic. So I'm spending all this time with him and I'm watching him. It also meant I was off my phone. Wake up call too. Those screen time hours went down. Real obvious how much time I was wasting. And I'm watching him and I'm like, I thought I was going to have to train him on when to eat, when to sleep, when to play. I was prepared that this was going to be a training process. And then he knew exactly when to eat. He knew exactly when he had to play, like mimicking hunting with his little play mouse, thinking that it was real. And then he knew when to sleep to recover. So he knew energy output, he knew energy input, and he knew recovery. And kittens grow so fast, so they sleep a lot. And then I thought about that. Well, what is growth? It's repairing tissue, it's generating tissue, it's healing. And then I realized, oh my God, we are no different. We are just so in the way of it, or not even acknowledging it. We are no different than any of these animals out in the wild or domestic in our homes. We have the same rhythms and patterns that are made within our human design. We just go against it constantly. And so these tools are literally here for us if we are willing to see them and remove getting in the way. Which brings me to probably the most important topic I feel for you guys, which is stress response. Stress. What a thing, huh? I think the most important thing that I want you to understand about stress and stress responses in our body is they're supposed to be there. We were designed to create and elicit a stress response. The problem is some of these innate tools that are in our design were made for a simpler, earlier time. And in current society, they sometimes work against us. And this stress response is a perfect example. We have a stress response because it is made to keep us alive. If that line on the screen right there was chasing us, you sure better hope that you have a good stress response that immediately kicks in, heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, so the blood gets out to your extremities, mainly the ones that are going to help you run fast. Respiratory rate increases, becomes a little shallow, so it can be quicker, so you can get oxygen quicker and it delivered. And then your awareness, your senses become heightened because you need to know where it is. Your hearing will tune in, your eyesight. That's to keep you alive. Unfortunately, that same response is now not being used for the lion to chase you. And instead, boy, does it know how to kick in on the 405 when you're 20 minutes late and it just went up to an hour late. You don't need to run in the car. You don't need high blood pressure. You don't need your heart to be going crazy, your respiratory rate to be shallow, but your body's doing it. And that's when our tool is working against us. But stress, it could be helpful. It is supposed to be in our life. So how do we use it properly? Working out is one example of strategic stress. We do need stress in our lives. We can't actually be without it. It comes down to the argument of the type of stress and it being strategic stress. Working out is a stress that produces the responses that I actually just said, right? You're working out, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, all these things go up. You're responding, right? It's the body responding to demand. We need that. We need that to think of it as like kind of keeping that tool sharp. We want that to work. We're designed, Again, if we want to go back to real simplistic analogies, we were designed to hunt and to do these things. And if you're not doing the things you're designed to do, that's just an innate tool that's kind of sitting there or misused. But the conversation really turns towards time under tension. What that means is how long we are under stress response. And that's where we run into trouble, so many of us, because of the way that our lives and careers are designed. Time under tension would mean you enter that response, right? So let's use the example of being on the 405 and in the car. It happens to me so much. I'm like, how did it just jump an hour? And then you find out it's like a pylon in the road or something. So time under tension, you're in that stress response, and then you get out to where you need to go. So you're late, so you keep rushing. It bleeds over, right? And then you're late for that other thing or that meeting. And then, oh my God, I forgot that thing at home that I needed. I have to run back. It is like a series of events. So the time that you're under that tension, the stress becomes prolonged. Your body's still having to respond, right? It's like, man, are we still running from a line? This is crazy. Like, when are you going to be done? Time under tension turns into chronic stress. And it starts to become the normal. That's where we run into trouble. The goal is not to eliminate stress. I don't think that's a realistic thing to ever say. And if anyone is selling that to you, know that they're just selling you something that's not true. You guys are in a career in which stress is, not gonna lie to you, it is part of your career. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I want you to think of what you do like an athlete. You're LeBron James. LeBron James has a lot of strategic stress. If you can't tell, I'm a Lakers fan. He has a lot of strategic stress in his training, because guess what? If he's not training for the strategic stress when he's in a game and it is tied, which they did so often until they got eliminated. They had a lead, it gets to a tie, and then it's down to, he's got to make the three. You think his heart isn't pounding. That stress response isn't on, but he has to be able to use that actually to his advantage, which athletes do. I think a very comparable analogy here is going to trial. That would elicit a stress response. That's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing to have your cognition sharpened, you're fine-tuned in on your senses, maybe a little bit of elevated heart rate. Not a bad thing. The problem is being then stuck in it, as I said, time under tension. So it's using that strategic stress, but then how do you balance it? What do you do to help mitigate it after? How do you support so that you actually exit it? So the goal here is balance, not eliminate. However, one thing I want you to make note of, which is again probably what you experience, you have stress in your career, that's fine. That's fine. You're LeBron James, strategic stress. It's about minimizing the self-created stress. And I'm going to give you the best example that I am guilty of right here. You have a busy day and you just go, go, go. You skip breakfast. Maybe it is a trial day. Actually, that would be a great example. Go, 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 and then traffic, and then you get there, and then you didn't eat. You opt for that third coffee, that third coffee. You think you need it because your brain's a little bit tired in this. We also have addictions to it, majorly. And what you're actually doing, although you think you're doing the thing you need to do to keep going and optimize for the moment and the demand, you're creating stress. You're increasing your cortisol by having that other coffee. You're increasing your heart rate as vasodilation. You are mimicking, then you're adding a stress response that isn't necessary. Again, we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to fully eliminate, but minimizing that is really important in obtaining the balance. So blocks. We have our innate tools. We want to become aware of them. We also want to remove the blocks. This is, again, an example list. It doesn't include everything. We just spoke about chronic stress, but these are other things that do get in the way of accessing these tools that you currently do have and automatically run, but we want to be able to be aware and cultivate. Belief systems are huge. I won't go too deep, but I've had time and time again client success stories where it started with they were doing everything, showing up for the workouts, eating all this, not getting result. Working out a great length of time, you want to give that length of time, nothing happens overnight. But then when we start doing work with narratives, it becomes apparent that they don't genuinely believe it's possible. Or maybe it's the relationship or the view or the narratives they have with their body and themselves. That, you can do all the right things, I promise you. That kink in the hose. That's why I put the hose up there as the photo. Is a block. You will absolutely be able to block with this right here. Length and neglect, it really just means how long are you sitting in it. Like I just said, our body's great at adapting. It will find your new normal eventually if you keep doing something. So if you keep drinking the 3 coffees and not eating, like it literally be like, this level of stress is our new normal. So your cortisol is going to just be there. That will be baseline. We are very intelligently designed to adapt, but again, that's where the tools can work against us. Sitting and sedentary, not designed to do it. I think that's a pretty obvious block, which a reminder to get up and stretch. Chemical changes to the ecosystem that can look from alcohol, like actually consuming toxins, to our gut microbiome being imbalanced and we have too many bad guys in there, they produce different toxins. The speed in which we live, hustle culture. How many times, I do this way too often, I've really tried to work on it lately, but how many times have you parked, you leave your car, you get to your door, and then you're like, oh my God, did I lock the car? Oh my God. And then I literally have to walk back and I see I did. That shows we are literally running too many tabs open in our brain at all times, multitasking, moving so quickly, hustle culture. We're not even aware of what we're doing. So that is huge. If you're not even aware if you lock your car door, you're probably not aware that you're actually breathing properly. And then I've been harping on this, but say it again, societal design. For example, we are not meant to look at screens this long. It is now affecting our circadian rhythm. Looking at screens at night before we go to bed is directly affecting our sleep. So there's all these things in society that are affecting, which brings me to the support tools. These are the tools that are used to support your innate tools. So again, this is more, we're now working outward, right? So these are the things that when everything I just discussed may be blocked or imbalanced. So when those innate tools, we can't quite access them proper, they're not working proper, maybe they're dysregulated. Nervous system dysregulation is a big word that you probably have heard, trend word. And that just means our innate tools, like something's not working quite right. How do we support it to get it back on track? I put reinforcement. It's the reinforcer. These are some examples, not all, of different support tools you can do. Saunas, infrared sauna, red light there as well. I do that. It's amazing. Massage therapy, lymphatic drainage techniques, vagus nerve stimulation. There's tons of different modalities and tools. Blue light blocking glasses, so what I just said, like screens at night, list goes on. Important to note, I'm giving you that example list right there. It doesn't mean you are supposed to be doing all those things, right? Key point of what I said about this is I want you to learn. It's not about adding a whole bunch of stuff on and then stressing yourself out with how much you got to do. After work, you got to go, okay, then sauna, and then, oh, I need a massage, and then, oh, wait, this is expensive, and then did it. No. We're learning our internal so you know your blueprint to know what support tools you need. Because you might not need all those. You might need one. You might not need any. Also important to understand that support tools are not necessarily those tangible things. You might not need to go buy something, right? Externally resource. It also can look like this: practices, meditation, visualization, pattern mapping, applied neuro. I could do a whole other seminar on that. I'm nerding out and learning so much about that. Eye tracking is literally as it sounds. You do eye exercises to help reset your nervous system, your brain. Our brain neuroplasticity is constantly changing because we constantly have these things throwing us in imbalance. We can use our brain to come back in balance. It's a very powerful tool. But the Swiss Army knife of all tools, the master tool, movement. I want you to understand movement is both an innate tool and a support. So it's an innate tool, it's a support tool. That means we are innately designed to move. It is so important, as you saw, it's part of the human essentials. And that's because everything you see on the screen there, take a moment to read them. There's so many more things, not an exclusive list, but these are the things that movement do for us on an innate need essential basis. You need all of these things that you see on the screen. But also what's so cool is movement can be used as a support tool to help read your body, to understand what your body needs and give it what it needs. So that's why it's the dual arrow. Movement is the least expensive, most powerful thing you can do. But movement doesn't have to look a certain way. Probably the most powerful thing I do with clients is working with narratives, as I kind of mentioned earlier. The biggest part, or the biggest narrative, is how someone views movement. We are conditioned to think of movement as the thing you do when you ate too much, or you had a weekend where you were just going out, eating in restaurants, whatever you want, so I better go to the gym Monday. It's the thing that we view as the counter to what we shouldn't do. It is a thing that we view we have to do. It might not show up as the best relationship in our life, our relationship with movement in our body. That is where we narrative switch. Movement needs to flow. It needs to be part of your life in every which way. Movement does not need to be in a box and categorized and programmed. It doesn't need to have a trend word like HIIT, see there on the screen, or CrossFit, or it doesn't have to fit in a particular structure. Those structures are great because it gives us the ability to use movement in different ways. But the three categories here I want you to think of on a Swiss Army knife, I wish I had one as an example of each tool you pull out. So you might have the screw, I'm not a handy person, so let me go for this analogy. You have a screwdriver. That might be mobility. It has its own function, right? You use a screwdriver for a certain thing. Mobility, opening the body, expanding, length. Cardio. That might be the I don't know, wrench. Really clearly don't use tools here other than the ones in my body. That is strengthening your heart, getting blood flow, lymph flow. We don't have any arteries from our knees down. In order for our blood to actually get back up to our heart, called our venous return, the muscles have to squeeze. We are designed for those muscles to move and squeeze. They have to. Cardio is a great way. It's that movement. It's great for your mind. It's opening. Think opening up, creating flow. And then strength. So important. I cannot stress this enough, especially as we get older. So essential that we load our body. If our muscles are the structure that hold us upright, we would be a noodle that would flop down. Yes, our bones are actually like the rods, right? But our muscles is what actually helps us move and function and give us shape and hold us into posture. If we don't strengthen, they start to not have the ability to do that. So it's really important that we change our relationship with movement, our viewpoint, our narrative of movement. Movement needs to flow into your life and be part of, even if it is just while you're sitting there, moving a little bit, being connected to your body. Movement is the way to really get to know your body. What I put there, movement is a medium in which your body can speak to you, and I could not say that. I would scream it from the rooftops for everyone to hear and understand. The more you do it, it becomes a practice. It's like any relationship, it takes work, right? You want to get to know the person, cultivate. And then the more you move and you learn what type of movement your body likes and needs, it's like transcribing. It's like having it speak to you, and then it's going through a little translator and you're like, oh, I get you. I hear you now. I'm sorry I was ignoring you this long. And I know I've got you guys here. We're close to time, so I want to bring you through one of the Swiss Army knife movement tools here is body scanning with movement. So I want you to join me here. You don't have to see me. You can stand if you want. You can sit depending where you are. If you are standing, we're gonna have our eyes closed. So just be sure you're not anywhere where you will run into something. But I want you to close your eyes, no matter if you're in that standing or seated position. We're gonna do, you might have done body scanning before, but we're gonna do it with movement. And that just means letting our body speak to us, as I said. I want you to take a really nice deep breath in, and the first thing I want you to do with your eyes closed is I want you to feel your right foot, and we're going to curl our toes on the right foot as far as we can curl them. Even if you have a shoe on, that's fine. And then extend them and try to spread your toes as far as you can. If you have a shoe, try to push them as far as you can to the surface of the shoe. Repeat again on your own time. Curl and extend. On this next time that you do it, I'm going to challenge you to not think about the movement. We get really caught up in the do, in the act, especially with movement, because it's coordination and it's thinking. We're sending that motor control from our brain to those muscles to do that movement. I want you now to go inward. Trust that your body's going to be able to do that without necessarily having just that command running all throughout your brain and only thinking of that. And instead, I want you to feel. That's how we go inward. We feel. Rather than the do, we feel. And now on this next one, I want you to feel what it feels like when you stretch your toes. Do you feel it throughout the bottom of your foot? Do you feel it in between? Is there a toe that's a little tighter? When you curl under, feel. Where's the tension? Does it travel up your shin? Does it travel up your calf? Are you almost getting a foot cramp? Don't think about anything outside. Try to minimally pay attention to me. Don't think about your to-do list. Switch to your left foot, do the same thing. I want you to extend those toes, stretch, 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 stretch as far as you can. The first few times with this left foot, you might be thinking, doing, but then I want you to fall inward into feeling, extend and curl. What does it feel like on this side? Is your left foot different than your right? Mine sure is. My big toe doesn't move as well. Does it feel like your toes want to crack? Does it feel like there's tension? Have you felt that area before? Get to know it. Introduce yourself. Sorry, big toe, I've been ignoring you for a little while. Talk to me. I want you now to move up to your thighs. If you're standing, you're just going to pull your knee all the way up to your chest. So stand and pull it in, careful with your balance, and bring it back down. If you're sitting, you're going to just straighten your leg in front of you and bring it back down to that seated 90-degree position. I want you to go back and forth with your legs slowly. We are moving back and forth, but I don't want you to get caught up in the coordination. Make it your own. It doesn't have to look a certain type of way. Move your leg. But what I want you to do is squeeze your quad. That's the front of your leg. That's the whole goal here. And I want you to think, if you are standing and it's balancing, what does that balance feel like? Are you shifting a certain way? Are certain things kind of firing on to catch you? And if you're sitting and you're squeezing your leg, does it hurt? Does it feel good? Do you feel energy and warmth rushing there? What does it feel like? Do you feel a muscle knot that you need to stretch out or roll out on a foam roller? Do you feel your tailbone? Feel. Maybe you're feeling somewhere that's not your quads. You start feeling your low back. Let it speak to you. Don't judge it. Don't freak out if there is like a little pain. Let it talk to you. That's data. It's vital data. Your body is speaking to you. I want you now, if you are seated or standing, eyes are still closed. You're going to put one hand on your low stomach, your lower belly, and one hand on your upper rib cage just under your sternum. I want you to take a really big inhale through your nose, as big as it feels comfortable to, and then a nice forceful exhale through your mouth. I'm not going to count you on it. I want it to be whatever feels natural right now. Do it again. This next breath, you're probably going to be, again, cognizant of doing it. You're going to be thinking more, thinking. But then this next breath, we're just going to allow it to go. And what I want you to picture, or feel, sorry, is that your bottom hand on your low stomach expands. Push it as far as you can, as far as you can. Try to push it away from you, away, away. And then the top one moves away. Then you exhale. Try that again. On your next one, you push your hands as far as you can away from you, first with the low, then with the high. Let that go. Now don't think about your hands at all. I want you to picture your ribs. Feel your ribs. How much can you expand your ribs? Can you expand your right more than your left? See how far you can get them apart. Breathe air into it, into it, into it. Exhale through your mouth. On this next one, I want you to feel the back of your ribs. Weird concept, right? Picture the back of your ribs. They're back there. They're wrapped the whole way around. They're from just above your hips all the way up behind your shoulder blades to your shoulders. Maybe you round your back when you do it. Try to expand. How far can you get those back of the ribs? How much air can you breathe in between them? Does it feel easy or hard? Just collect the data. Don't judge. Just collect the data. One more breath. And then I want you on this breath to now, we're going deeper than the ribs. We're going to the lungs. So we went muscle to bone. We're going to lungs. I want you to picture and feel your lungs expanding as big as they possibly can. Get as much air as you can. And then comfortably exhale. You can now open your eyes. Sit again if you were standing. That is a very small version, honestly, because I didn't want to hold you too much over time. I would go way longer. But I talk too much, apparently. But that's a small example of body scanning with movement. You might have heard of body scanning or done it before in like yoga, savasana. You lay down. They speak to you from your feet up or head down and just each body part. This is using movement. Something I would have you do after this, by the way, if you want to do after this, is you then just literally shake out. If you're in an office and don't want to look crazy, that's fine. Or if you want to look crazy, you know what? I want you to do it. Do it. Please don't care what anyone thinks, but just wiggle about. Let your body go. Movement does not have to be regimented and planned and concrete in a specific way. Yes, there's structure to things like squats and deadlifts, and that's just to learn our anatomy and our biomechanics and how we do load and move particular ways. But also movement is free and it's fluid. And the more you kind of have both of those, you'll really understand the dance and the relationship of what your body can do, needs to do, and will talk to you through. And that brings me to the end, the takeaways. I hope that you take away something from this today. And if that something is that you have autonomy over your well being, then I know I did a great job, because that is the truth. The blueprint is you, it's within you. So if you are someone who feels a little overwhelmed with how many things are available in health and wellness, or overwhelmed with how many things you feel is wrong with you, I want you, nothing is wrong, they just might be out of balance. Or if you feel like you just don't know where to start, the start is with you. Your well-being is within you. And the more you reconnect and learn yourself, that path is literally gonna lay out. It's gonna be the red strings on the wall. If you do not understand your body, you don't know what it needs. And it's as simple as that. And don't let anyone sell anything to you otherwise. Definitely don't. Balancing, not perfection. Perfect is not the goal. Perfection is not the goal. So balance is what you should be really striving for, and giving yourself that grace, and also acknowledging what balance looks like. And rhythms, not regimens. It's so important to understand that our body is fluid. It's rhythmic. It has all of these things in place to be able to adapt to the ever-changing landscape that is our external ecosystem as well as our internal. And I hope that you learn to cultivate your toolkit with your innate tools by building awareness and removing blocks. And maybe that's where you start. And if you start with just removing one block, you are doing incredible, and watch it all fall, watch it all flow, because everything is connected. And then to know your support tools and how to figure out those support tools. And body scanning is something I hope that you do continue. I highly suggest doing it 5 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, if you're waiting for your coffee to get made, or even when you just first sit up in bed. And I highly, highly encourage you to do it after something stressful, your strategic stress, like going to trial or something like that, to help read your body and bring you out of that state. If you have any questions, I understand we're kind of in like a chat scenario. I'll try to like bring up the chat so I can see if you do, but also feel free to connect with me. I love talking with people and helping them on their path. I have two kind of options. Body by Me Method is my company, as I said. The website's there. You also can find me on Instagram. I should have put that there at I'm Emily Meisner. But I work with clients one-on-one with something called Guided Journeys, which is helping you do kind of everything I talked about today, helping you find that blueprint, lay it out, find a sustainable structure to follow so that you can obtain balance, and just where to plug and play in your life to obtain balance. And then the Transformation Club is my app. It is a community that is all about this and having the support of others and different well-being experts. Tons of information as we're constantly learning our bodies. And you're more than welcome to join for free. Let's see if I can see the chat.
Emily, there are some questions Q&A if you're able to view it.
Oh, where do I see? Oh, Q&A.
Yes, yes.
Oh, gosh, sorry, I didn't even see that. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, also suffer from chronic pain from a condition. Also, though you're constantly on high alert, that line's chasing you. I try to manage it with exercise, eating healthy, sleep, relaxing, but it never seems to be enough, and I always seem to be tired and stressed out. Yeah, anything I can do other than switching jobs to manage this? Yes, that is a great question. I think in this scenario, it's so important because it sounds like you're doing the things, right? So you're doing exercise, you're doing the eating healthy. It's so important, and it's a hard concept to understand, is less is more sometimes, and stripping down things to find those root causes. So sometimes exercise can work against us. I know I just gave a whole thing on how movement is important, but how, what type? So in that Swiss Army knife. So doing extreme HIIT workouts or lifting really heavy can actually work against us if our body has too many things going on. So too many tabs open, too many things are dysregulated. That can be another stress that's not strategic in that moment, but is actually just adding on to, it's kind of called a stress bucket, right? And so it's overflowing. So stripping down things, even though you're doing healthy practices, sometimes it's actually doing too much. In my journey, that was what I had to learn, because you can probably relate, but I'm just like, I'm a doer. I'll do more. Tell me what to do. Yeah, I'll go to acupuncture and chiro, and I'll drink this, and I'll do this, but it was too much. So it was when I started to strip down that I got to learn those red strings of what is connected. I could not speak more highly of working with an integrative doctor if you're able to. They're really good. That is kind of their whole premise, is let's peel back layers and look at the roots and figure out what of those innate tools are off, because that's your body talking to you, right? The chronic pain is your body telling you something is off. And so to know what tools we use to heal it, we have to kind of know that root. And getting that integrative testing, like gut microbiome testing, and those kind of deeper tests, they're more than the surface level, like annual tests we get, is really, really helpful. So I hope that that kind of helps. Also, if you want to reach out to me separately, I can keep going deeper with you on that. One of the problems you have is you rely on tools that are, yeah, so similarly, de-stressing with TV and unhealthy foods. Trying to change those creates stress while your body's adjusting. How do you recommend you manage stress during an adjustment period? Yeah, that's a really great question. I think it is actually doing one thing at a time. So it's great that you want to change the more what we would view unhealthy coping mechanisms to stress, like watching TV or eating unhealthy. But if we try to do it all at once, it's exactly what you just said. Like it feels like ripping a rug out. Like your whole landscape changes, your whole ecosystem changes, and it gets thrown off. And then you're stressed even having to adapt to that. So I like doing with clients is just one small adaptation or switch at a time. So keep your TV, keep that going. Let's just switch what that food item is first, right? I know that it's not for everybody, but man, I love those seaweed snacks because I'm a salty girl. So if I can swap out chips for that, that's a great start. Then we'll slowly adjust and work on schedules. Maybe it's not late night TV. Maybe after you had a really stressful day, yeah, you love your shows so you can unwind, but maybe we look at when. So it's not, again, necessarily that it's like, oh, I gotta stop these bad things because I know they're bad. Let's just look at swapping and adapting so that your schedule in your day still includes something that is decompressing, but it's not at the expense of your balance, right? The balance of your well-being. Awesome. I hope that answers your guys' questions. And like I said, if you have any more, I am totally here for you to reach out, whether it's email or social media. Email actually is better. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes social media doesn't show me my DMs properly. So if there are any more questions. Oh, thank you so much. Perfect. Awesome, guys. Well, I know I kept you a few minutes over. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have an amazing, informative well-being week kicked off today, and that you find the balance that feels best for you. And I know you have like a walking challenge coming up, so I hope that you all do that because that is amazing. Walking, top tier movement.